I've always hated sprinting buttons. They are just the worst feature. Okay, so I guess the catalyst of this rant is the fact that I bought Spelunky and it has the worst sprint button that I've ever seen. Look at how incredibly slow this character moves by default. Oh my god, it's so slow it's putting me to sleep. But then you press the sprint button and he moves literally twice as fast. What the fuck? Why did you make it that way? That means you can choose between way too fast and way too slow, and those are your two options. And it doesn't even speed up slowly because, I don't know, because the sprint button speeds up immediately, and also there's no downside to holding it down the entire time. So why the fuck did you make the standard speed so incredibly slow? And why the fuck did you make a sprint button in the first place? The sprint button means that now you need to press the sprint button every time you jump. Why don't you just make it so you jump farther anyways? I mean, what's the point? You don't need the sprint button for moving because you can move at your own speed. It doesn't matter if you move slow. But if you don't press the sprint button while running, you might while jumping, then you might not make the jump, and I don't know, see, that makes the jumping pretty useless if you don't sprint, so I guess you'd just be sprinting every time you jump. I guess Spelunky's an old game and I don't like the way it's aged. Maybe that sprint button was okay back in the day, but I think it's awful now. But even modern games have sprint buttons and they've never gotten any less retarded. Let's look at Dark Souls, for example. Look how slowly my stamina decreases when I sprint. I mean, that makes sense, right? Except for the fact that means that whenever I want to move at a decent speed, I'm going to be out of stamina by the time I reach an enemy. I mean, not in this case, because because that enemy dies in one hit. But if they didn't die in one hit, I'd be out of stamina by the time I would try to swing the second time. And that's retarded. Why is it retarded? Because your basic movement speed sucks. Well, it doesn't suck, but I mean, obviously you're gonna move faster. And the thing is, while you move at a regular speed, you recover stamina somehow. So you sprint and you lose stamina, and then you get locked into the low running speed while the stamina regenerates. Do you know how bad that is? It's really bad, because that means that whenever your stamina is full, you're losing potential speed, because there's no button to run at exactly the speed that would level out the stamina reduction. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Because if you tap sprint, then that's your optimal speed, I guess. If you tap it at a low rate, so that the bar doesn't deplete too much. But then the problem is that if you do that, Dark Souls is even more retarded, because tapping the sprint button makes you dodge. Or, no, actually, I think it makes you jump. It's bad. It's real bad. So, yeah, that's not good at all. That's bad sprint button. And it would be easily fixed, I guess, because all you have to do is make it so that I move faster when my stamina is full. Because then I would use up that excess stamina that I would otherwise be losing by moving at exactly the speed that I could afford without losing stamina. That's what I think. But then again, there's just no way. I mean, you might want to move at that speed anyways. I don't know why it is that way. I really hate stamina bars, by the way, in case you hadn't caught on. So I think it would have been better if you had just made it so the sprint button doesn't exist and you move the same speed, and the same speed is slightly faster than it is now. What the hell is the point of a sprint button? The point of a sprint button is to make it so you're out of stamina by the time you reach an enemy. That's the fucking point of it. And Dark Souls is already retarded when it comes to controls, because Dark Souls, I guess it's designed for gamepad, and therefore it doesn't have enough buttons to do all the things that you can do. So dodge and jump and sprint all share the same button, which is pointless, because sprint doesn't even need a button. God damn it, no one ever wants to walk slowly, and no one ever wants to start a fight with low stamina. I mean, there's I suppose you could have a sprint button, but then it's only for running away from enemies, and that's when you actually want to lose stamina. But whenever you're just moving around the world, you want to move fast, but you want to move without losing stamina. That's why an intermediate sprint should be the default option. And by the way, in case you're wondering, you never need a sprint button. You never want to go slow unless the game is designed shit, like Spelunky, I guess. Even though obviously it's a very inspirational game, it's a real big deal for the roguelike genre, I guess. But the thing is, the sprint button is terrible because you can't hold it down the entire time, because that makes it so that you move uncomfortably fast. And that doesn't need to be that way, because why would you ever move uncomfortably fast immediately? I mean, you probably would have to redesign the game and it wouldn't be good, but if they had designed the game around the fact that it takes you like half a second to speed up, and then you can just tap the button to walk slowly if that's ever necessary, which it shouldn't be, or just like not insanely fast, that would be good. Or maybe just make the standard speed way faster, because right now it's so slow it hurts. So anyways, if you ever could design a game without a sprint button, that's good. I mean, I'm gonna have a sprint button in Poor Mouse, but that has a cooldown. It doesn't use up your stamina. It's just like, I don't know, is that better? Is that worse? Well, in Poor Mouse it makes sense, because in Poor Mouse you can jump and you can sprint, so you can jump, and that still moves faster than regular movement. And then when you want to sprint, once your cooldown of sprinting's back up, you can use it again. It's a real complicated system. It might be a terrible system. We'll see, I guess. We'll see if I stick with it even by the time Poor Mouse ever comes out. But yeah, please people, fucking think about your goddamn sprint button. Why am I losing fucking potential speed if I'm not sprinting? Why am I losing stamina if I am sprinting? Why isn't there a way to move faster without losing stamina? Damn it, Dark Souls. And why did you have to dedicate a button to this when there's barely any use for it? When you already have other buttons that are really necessary. Fuck.